$1,000 checks to Americans. That sounds a lot like Andrew Yang's idea during his presidential campaign. How did it go from being radical, pie-in-the-sky idea to a Trump administration proposal? The former candidate joins us next.
Joining us now is CNN political commentator and former Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang. Andrew, it's great to see you. Welcome to New Day as one of our colleagues into the big empty room here. Look, we're going to talk to you about the $1,000 checks that people may be getting. Obviously, you're the man of the moment there. But let's get your reaction first to this statement from the Sanders campaign. Whenever you hear a campaign saying it's going to assess, it generally means there's a big chance that they're going to suspend or end the campaign. What do you think the consideration is and should be for Sanders?
Well, Bernie's run an incredible campaign. He's moved our entire country in a better direction. But the delegate math is getting worse and worse, where he's now down by almost 300 delegates. And the states ahead do not project that they're going to change that. And so Bernie is doing the right thing by assessing what his path forward looks like, particularly because we're in the midst of this coronavirus crisis. We need to be focused on taking care of the American people. And exhorting people to go to the polls is not good for public health. We can all see that. So Bernie's entitled, obviously, to make his own decisions, but I think assessing his campaign's path forward is the right thing to do.
But, Andrew, it sounds like you're saying that he would actually be hurting the party and even the country if he were to stay in at this point.
Well, if you can imagine a sporting event and then a thunderstorm comes in and there's lightning crackling, they call the game. They say, all right, let's get the players off the field. And that's a similar situation to what we're in right now. Joe Biden's up. At this point, it's not wise to encourage people to head to the polls. This race is essentially frozen where it is. Everyone can see where it's heading. And I certainly don't think that Bernie and his supporters want to endanger anyone, but that's the reality of the situation we're in.
All right, so let's talk about you being the man of the moment. You campaigned on a universal basic income, which is $1,000 a month for every American adult. What's being proposed now by different parties is some kind of a stimulus. It's not the same thing as the UBI, but it's either a $1,000 check to people making under $75,000, maybe $100,000, maybe it's a few infusions of cash to Americans over time. But there are some similarities. What do you think of these proposals? And just how does it feel to be discussed the way you are right now?
Well, certainly I would never wish for these circumstances. I think putting money into the hands of American families is vital right now because we're facing a recession immediately, and it's going to potentially teeter into a depression. Putting money into people's hands will just help keep us afloat during this crisis. It doesn't solve many of the economic issues, but it's a stopgap that we have to do. I certainly would never want to be, proven right in this particular type of situation. You never wish this on our country. But putting cash into our hands is a must do. And I'm thrilled that it seems like Congress and the administration are moving to do this as quickly as possible.
But, Andrew, isn't it just a little crazy that when you first proposed it, people were like, what? I mean, it was jaw-dropping. It was so radical. And now the Trump administration is proposing it. I understand we're facing a pandemic, but the speed with which your idea has caught fire, do you find that remarkable?
Well, I never dreamed that I would suspend my campaign in February and then we'd be implementing universal basic income in March. That was certainly never something I could have imagined to be possible. But I'm thrilled that my campaign might have advanced some of these solutions right in the nick of time to help us address this crisis.
What's the level of contact you have with the White House on this matter now? Because you said there had been some.
Yeah, my team has been in touch with their team. They've asked for resources that might help inform some of the policies, and we're sending them any information they want in terms of the studies that show that cash infusions make people healthier, mentally healthier, more productive, more trusting. It's vital in this kind of situation. We just want to help the country move forward through this crisis, and we'll do anything to help the administration implement the right policies.
One of the big differences, not only is yours forever, I mean, you're talking about $1,000 a month forever, but you also don't have any kind of means testing on purpose. Part of the economic theory behind your plan is that everyone gets it, from Warren Buffett, to the rest of us here. So Why? Why do you think everyone should get some kind of a check rather than just people making below $75,000 or $100,000?
Well, people's circumstances can change awfully quickly. I just heard from a restaurateur who made a lot of money on paper last year, but now their restaurant's closed. They plowed everything they have into the business. And they're saying, look, like, I know on paper it might look like I'm flush, but the truth is, like, I'm in desperate circumstances right now. I mean, we're in a situation where it's all hands on deck. We should just be putting money into people's hands. And it's hard for the government to draw lines in the best of circumstances. Like, even if we had time, if you had to figure it out, we don't have time. We're much better off just putting money into people's hands and trusting that it's going to end up finding its way back into the economy, back into local communities to help keep us afloat.
I mean, very, very quickly, you know, one of the proposals is just $1,000, just a one-time hit of $1,000. What do you think of that proposal?
Well, I think it needs to be regular and predictable, either $1,000 a month, because we're not sure, or more per month, because we're not sure how long this crisis is going to last. And if we put $1,000 in your hands at the end of March, you know, this could extend into April, May, June, and that money is going to evaporate. So we either need to go much, much bigger. Overall, we need to think much, much bigger about the situation we're in. I mean, when the house is on fire, you don't worry about how much water you're using. You have to put out the fire. We're in the precipice of a new Great Depression, and we need to act fast. So it should either be regular installments or very, very big. I think big and regular is the right way to go.
Andrew Yang, we really appreciate you sharing your expertise on this topic with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Stay safe.
Put the money in our hands. 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 Can we afford it? Yes. Will it cause inflation? No. Is it awesome? Yes. Is anyone trying to make it happen? Yeah, that guy.